Welcome back with another Border Terrier. Wendy from Dogs of Pride here, and this is Ellen. Completely different coat if you'd seen part 1 of our hand stripping, this being part 2. This is a little girl who's never been clipped, and she's a spayed female, so you're going to get a difference in the coat again. But the fact that she's never been clipped is nice because we don't have to compete with a lot of fuzzy woolly stuff. She's a little love muffin. I've already started about 5 or 10 minutes is all it took me to do her ear and the top of her head today compared to the wee man the other day. But you can see the richness of the colour coming through, nice sort of velvety finish on the ear, it's just lovely. And this one here, before. And then you can see as well how much is coming, so she's quite a woolly little monkey. But the thing is with all of this long hair on top, which you can clearly see a lot easier, all that light stuff, and that gives that sort of brindling on the top. It's all different colours all the way through it, but that's the stuff that's coming out, and it's just releasing really, really easily. We have a little bit of undercoat. We're not going to strip too much, therefore we're not going to card out that undercoat too much, just because we are in the middle of winter, but still, any dead undercoat is going to come out no matter what. So what I did to start with her was, again, go over with the Coat King just to take out a bulk of the extra. If I just turn her slightly here, you can see this was the complete before. Lovely coloration, right enough, but she's going to end up quite red underneath all of this once it's all off, aren't you, sweetheart? So if we just do our Coat King again, I'll show you how much was coming off with that. Come here, sweetheart. Come here. Again, just a light touch. You're not digging at it, so you're not going to get stuck in behind withers and bones and tendons and things like that, because remember those little blades in there can cut really easily. So this is just taking a lot of the surplus dead coat out, providing you're not going with a very, very hard hand and that you've preconditioned your tool and such that you've sort of dulled those blades a little bit. You're not going to cut the coat. And that's the thing, if you go too hard with a Coat King, you'll cut the coat and you'll end up with frizzies in the regrowth, because you'll basically fray the end of the hair as you sort of cut it at a weird angle, cause a lot of breakage, and therefore as well cause matting in regrowth, and you don't want to see that. Here's the question as well, how do you actually control the length with a hand strip coat? You can't really. If that length of coat is about to blow and that's going to come out, you can't take half of that off, because her mother's instructions were, oh, don't take her too short. I was like, well, you can't really decide that whenever you're hand stripping. What's coming out is coming out, and that's your top outer layer, as long as it's blowing. Now certainly if that was not releasing as well as it is, and I've tried a few bits on the other side just to see what's releasing and not, well then we could basically do just like this, roll the coat a little bit. Now I mentioned that in part 1 but didn't really go into it well enough. Rolling the coat is when you quite literally grab a bit and roll it, and then anything that's sticking out above your level area basically gets removed. So you can see that all of that is pretty much the same length, so it either comes out or it doesn't. For a groom to hand strip, it's coming out. So you're going to see a lot of difference with this at the end of it. As you can see on the head, there's the after, lovely smooth finish. And because she is on a nice schedule as well, this isn't right down to the skin or down to the pajamas as some people call it. So because that's the important part about getting onto a nice routine with the client as well, is so that they don't end up completely scum looking by the time you finish the groom, and they do have a bit of hair still covering. So this is actually quite nice, and then that's going to rotate as well, come through looking like that, and it starts all over again. You see how quickly and easily that's coming out of her head, leaving a beautiful rich red underneath. So pretty. And in case you think I'm holding her down, there's no holding or restraint with this dog needed whatsoever. She just likes to chill and get pampered. If you find you have to pull a lot harder, you will end up with a lot of irritation. And especially on a wee dog that's only coming like once or twice a year, this area will get very, very red. Give it a wee shot of colloidal silver, it'll calm it down right away, and make sure you do use like a unscented shampoo, nice gentle shampoo on her. Something for sensitive skin. Just like I just want to sleep. Obviously stressful. We're back with Ellen again. You're still with Ellen again, as you're seeing it from your side. But this is actually a week on. We sent her home last week after 3 hours of taking all of that dead coat out of her, doing a lot of work. We did a very gentle bath on her as well. But just a week later, we're having a lot more success with pulling all this extra coat. So we'd left her tail on, we'd left her legs on, pretty much the way you saw it there at the end, or the last little clip that I was on with her, and it was towards the end of it. Plus I don't sound as full of a cold this time either. So her mum's not worried about whether we clip or scissor the back of her legs, but it's always easier as well. If you're rotating that coat, you can actually bring it back in just as nice so that it comes out and it pulls easier. So I've been removing a little bit of a mixture of previously cut coat and a little bit of strip coat. And what you'll find as well is that once it all starts to release, it's all going to come out nice and you're left with a nice finish as well. Just a sort of a before and an after on this as to what we're finishing. Today we'll be finishing the ruff on her, the legs as I say. We did her underneath, and I'll show you that in a wee minute. But there's more what that's coming into, and it's taken so much less time today than it did last week. So even if you know, are going hell for leather, don't burn yourself and the dog out. Put in another wee hour, you know, a week ahead or something like that. Or get them to come back at the end of your day and just to finish up the dog. So I mean that's coming out way easier than it was last week. I'll take this off as well, finish this leg, tidy this up. I'm going to show you how we're going to finish these legs as well. And yeah, she's going to look much more put together. I like this here, so I might not strip all of this out. I might even just use my thinning shears on it and tidy it up, but I'll decide that once I finish this side. I want to take this in tighter as well. This all needs to come. It's not releasing just as quickly and easily as this did, but that's okay. We'll get there. This really is the only sort of second time that she's been with me, or part 2 of the second time. So it's always interesting as well when you get a client who's willing to commit, who's going to come in regularly, because you learn so much more about these coats too and how you see them, and that's all to do with learning, and we never stop. I'm very lucky where I have these very regular clients now with these hand stripped dogs, and myself, I'm learning so much more about the coat. So, you know, you never know it all, and, you know, you'd be crazy to think you ever do, because then you'll find another wee dog with a different skin issue, or a different type of coat, or a different colour, and all of those wee dogs that were off colours that used to be culled, God love them, are now being kept and sold as rare breeds, so we're going to see even more different versions coming through. We're just going to move along here and show down this side, because I've pretty much done what I want to do with that. Yes, this is tufty, that's okay. I released as much as I could from that, but I did do pretty much the back of the leg. Got a couple of little hairs here and there that I'll take out, but down here as well, that's getting sensitive, and she's not enjoying that being pulled. So you got to listen to the dog as well, what they're going to allow you to do, and then what you do actually end up doing can be 2 different things. Or what you wanted to do is a different thing. Yeah, okay. Back leg's a lot tidier as well. Was kind of ended just off the hip last week, as you can see if I just move her over. She had like this big horrible skirt, so that long hair there that was taking so long to pull out last week is coming through really, really quickly and really easily. Her tail, I stripped that out in about 5 minutes. That's most of it. Now, if I tell you as well, the belly, her mum's fine about getting her belly clipped. So what I did, and actually she's really good when she stands up, she will actually let you strip her. So I did just go along with the knife and with the stone and pulled out what would be allowed and what she's not fussing over. So she's not giving me any hassle here, so I'm going, oh that's fine, she's busy sniffing about something instead. So I had done that and I got to about there where that little fuzzy bit is, and I just took my cordless and went up there really lightly, not taking it to the skin so that it doesn't look too bald. You just did the sanitary last week as well before her bath. And obviously as well there's a couple of little hairs that, oh, if she's letting me do them, I'm going to grab them and take them because that cleans that up nicely too, doesn't it? She's a sweetheart. Alright. So her underline, basically that's it. It's down to pretty much nothing. She is fully blown out now. And just to finish off the legs, I'll show you. Basically I was just taking out what was extra. I'll probably do a wee bit more here yet because I can see it in the light that it's showing up. Still quite a few hairs. Yes, I know, nosy. But basically I'll take off all my stuff till I'm happy with the finish on it, and then hand pluck probably a couple of little hairs here and there. Use my knife to card it, see if there's any more undercoat left in. I've already done this one so it's not showing you. Let me show you on this one, even though I'll be doing this later on after I've pulled all the rest of this hair that I want, but especially in the feet. Easy. Just using that like I would a comb, but it's taken out a lot more fuzzy stuff and it actually helps it to lie down flatter. So we'll finish this wee leg and a foot for you. I'll just move around this way here. So if you want to come on this side here, you'll see what I'm doing with these tufts. And I'm just using my thinning shears. A couple of little snips just to even it off. And why am I using my thinning shears instead of my straight shears? Because I don't want a harsh cut line. This is going to make it look more natural. Now, hocks. You'll notice that hocks are usually always cut. You can see that it's still the dark coloration, so it's the nice coat, but it's soft. So the texture of it's been changed and it's just been cut constantly and constantly, constantly. Alright. Now, from my angle it's alright. These little bits here, I can probably just pull those out as well. Have a little bit to do on the inside of her leg, and again just the foot. So you set the foot down, just go up along the side, inside and outside, across the front, and just round off the edges. So that way as well you're leaving the hair covering the nails, you're not leaving big gaping toes, which just doesn't look pretty. They should have a nice little neat compact foot if you look at your breed standard for the dog. And I think, as we said before, they need a little bit of hair on their feet to help them with the traction so they don't get too slippy. A little bit of grip. So there's a couple of nice little feet. Yes, I know we've some bits to tidy up there, but you get the general idea. This big curlicue on her butt as well, I'm just going to take that off. She's not letting me strip that. It's probably been just cut before or clippered, but I'm just going to hold her tight. And as you can see, I can just get that off without it looking like too harsh a line. with my clip or my thinning shears rather than anything else. So that's pretty much almost our finished groom. And I'm just going to continue on and then do the same with her as I did with the little guy that you saw in part 1. Tidy her up, do the same on the other side, take all these extra hairs out, spend a little bit more time just fiddling around and plucking, and your breath smells of fish. Yes. And anyway, then we'll send her home. We'll use our polishing, our Show Shine, Terrier Touch Show Shine, with our boar bristle brush again, just to polish this coat. And look at that, even just showing you that after a week of her being here, and you can see where all these little extra bits that I didn't take out and spent the time to go over and totally finish her last time because I knew she was coming back. So this is more what you're doing whenever you're rolling the coat. So I can actually roll her today as well if I want to, if I have the time, and go along and see those extra hairs sticking up and take them out. There you go. And we'll see you in part 3 when we have her housemate, a little unneutered male. So we'll see a different coat again, hopefully. Thanks again. It's been Wendy at Dogs of Pride. This has been Ellen. Have a lovely day. Bye.